So, Victor, welcome. As usual, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you. You know, like when Alex asks that, like, how many people do know him, so I expected like the whole audience will raise a hand and say it. I know. So, my name is Victor. I'm from AWS, as you can see in my T-shirt. And I want to start from marketing part because we saw in the previous example that Alex didn't have enough time for marketing. I would prefer to start it from that. So if you want, you can join to, I believe, one of the biggest event organized by AWS, just like in 3 weeks. It will be Cloud Day in Warsaw, Warszawa. So super welcome. I think it will be very interesting. A lot of content, not only related to generative AI, I promise. So I'm personally going to speak about CDKs for Kubernetes. So if you want, please join. I think it will be a super great event, just like September 18. My talk. So, prompt engineering. You know, when generative AI and all of this stuff appeared, and many people to said like prompt engineer, it will be the next generation of engineers who will be needed on the project. But at the same time, I heard some stories that prompt engineering is like an art, and we will see what's exactly the art or it's engineering. So today I want to speak with you about prompt engineering. What is it? What the useful techniques you can apply, for example, to your day-to-day job. We'll go to the, not like a practical, I will share the practical use cases, especially for Anthropic Claude. Most of them can be applied to other model, I would say like 80%, but we will have some specific related to the Claude, and all time I will say like it's specific for Claude, it's specific for Anthropic. We will go a little bit beyond of the prompting, and for sure we'll share with you some what you can do, how you can start your prompt engineering journey. So many people said like prompt engineering it's an art form, so we create something, so it's not like engineer stuff. You know, like from one perspective I'm absolutely agree, because if you look at the what's exactly prompt, that's what we make an input to our foundation model and get the result. Fix it. So as usual, just like depended what you ask, you will get it. But what example if I ask you this question? What is 10 plus 10? What will be your answer? Depends on system. Good answer. Someone's like 10, 10, 10. Okay, what's winery? What's winery? Okay, I got it. But what's the answer? What will be the answer on this question? Population. What? 20. Okay. I waited for this one because my first expectation is that it would say like 20. Because for many people, if you are from IT, if you're like engineer person, most probably 10 plus 10 in 20. But if you look carefully to this question, did I ask you to make this calculation? No, I didn't ask you. I just like said, what is, sorry, just like let me try from this side. Okay, here we go. I just asked, what is 10 plus 10? I didn't ask you to calculation. What if, like, maybe it's additional problem? Maybe we will need to do something else with this problem on the next step. Or maybe I just like ask to translate to Polish. Co to jest 10 plus 10. Sorry, my Polish is not so good, but I try my best, sorry. So depending exactly what the task is, we don't know, and we try to do the same sometimes with generative AI, with LLMs. That's what we saw previously when Alex tried to do like fix it, but what's exactly fix it? So it's not a good practice to create a prompt. So I will share with you what AWS and what Anthropic highly recommend techniques and practice to apply to your day-to-day job. So what the techniques exist? Not so many techniques, honestly. The first one is super simple. It's called one-shot prompting. But before I explain what's the approach, what the techniques means, I want to highlight it with you very important stuff. It can apply for many foundation models, but it's very specific. Sometimes it can be specific for Anthropic. What we see here, we see user and assistant. User, it's me, it's human, it's a person who asks a question. And assistant, it's my LLM, it's my Anthropic, Claude, I know Meta, Mistral, and so on. It's my foundation model, it's my LLM. And when I create one-shot prompting, I provide an example what I should achieve and what kind of results I am prefer to see. What we see here on this one. So I want to fly from Los Angeles to Miami, provides the airport code only. And I also provide the answer to this question. So airport code will be LAXMIA, so in a bracket. And the next step, I do this almost the same question, but different cities, Dallas and San Francisco. And I also help and support, like I started answer from LLM and say, you should do in this way, airport codes in bracket, and we see the result. DFW, SFO, and that's it. So you see, it's like very useful technique when you provide one super simple example how LLM should answer to your question. Another techniques when you provide multiple examples, it's called few-shot prompting. Again, it's not so rocket science, but what we did here. So I want to categorize tweets, and it should be like negative, positive, or natural. So I provide one of them it's not natural, one of them is positive, one of them it's negative, and so on. And at the last one, I send my own tweet, and we can see what will be the result. It's a few-shot prompting. I provide a couple of the examples, and model will be able to understand what exactly I want to achieve. The next one, it's related to scientific white paper. It's not like, you need to do in this way. It's documented, and you can find this white paper on this link. It was published, I believe, in 2022 and 2023, the start on 2023. So what the idea is, when we ask LLM to do some stuff for us, if we add super simple step, like sync step by step, it will help to LLM to do correct answer and thinking how we people think. So let me show, for example, here's super simple task. I have 16 balls. Half of the balls is golf balls. Half of the golf balls is blue. And what's the answer? How many blue balls do I have? If we as a people will read this task very quickly, most probably we'll answer in the same way, like 8. Half of the balls, the first number what I saw, it's 16, maybe the right answer 8. No. If we start to think it step by step, okay, half of the whole balls, it's 8. And you see, it's absolutely the same happened when I asked just to do it step by step. 16 balls in total, half of them, it's 8. And at the end, I got 4. Super simple technique, but documented in white paper, and use it in your day-to-day job. So not only fix it in step by step. What exactly should I do in this situation? You also can extend this technique if you provide additional example how model should think. I mean, how you can solve this problem. Again, from left side, it's without additional instruction. From right side for you, I provided the first question and provided how you should think in this step by step. LLM should think in step by step, and then again, ask another question and see what the results 23 apples, blah blah blah, -3. The result is 9. 9 is what I expected to get as an answer on this question. It was some super simple technique what you apply to your day-to-day basis job. The next part will be related to Anthropic Claude, but again, I would say 80% of this prompt approaches technique you can do for your LLM. Another one like Llama Mistral, for example, or GPT, so on. But some of them it's specifically only for Anthropic. I will highlight which one. And also, I want to say like very important part that most everything what I will show the next one, it will be related when you want to create some application based on generative AI. I would say this technique is very good if you do some small tasks for your day-to-day job, but most of them, of these techniques, is applied for the customers. I saw many customers who try to do good conversation with LLM and got very bad result. For example, Ideala. Ideala, it's Germany customer of AWS, and they apply these techniques and got very good results in their comparison different product on their side. So the first one, be direct and clear. You need to say what exactly you want to achieve. Not only to make a calculation or give me the results or fix it or solve the problem. No, be direct, and you should to understand that LM, as we as a people, cannot read your mind. You need to provide a little bit more context and be clear what you want to achieve. And here, one of the golden rule is you can create the prompt and share this prompt to your friend, to your colleagues, to your teammates, and ask what the person will do if got this request. And based on these results, most probably you will get, again, like better results from LLM. Or maybe worse result, depending on how you ask. The next one is a role. Assign a role for LLM. What it means, like, let me explain from this perspective. For example, I'm graduated from technical university. And for example, Roman here, it's straight from my side. He graduated from, I don't know, linguistic university. It's just amazing. And we have absolutely different baseline when we speak with each other on the same language. I believe you see the same situation in your project when, for example, developer and QA engineer cannot have agreement because they don't speak on the same languages. They speak on the same, like, for example, English or Polish and Russian language, but in reality they have absolutely different background of the knowledge, and it means like they have different role in the project and they cannot have agreements what need to do and how to fix this problem. So, and another part is related to the role that generative AI and LLMs cannot do good mathematical calculation. So they don't do mathematical calculation, they generate what will be the probability of the next one. For example, plus 2 or 10 plus 10, based on the generation, 20 will be the next one. But LLM don't do any mathematical calculation. So, but when we try to assign some role, we increase this probability that the answer will be correct. And the LLM will think from this perspective and try to do on the right direction with correct role what we assign. So we improve accuracy in this situation and also a tone how we have this conversation with the LLM. Maybe it should be friendly conversation, maybe it should be I don't know, not very friendly conversation, and so on. The next one, it's very, very important. I would say if you can take away one thing from my presentation, take this one, examples. Examples in your prompt. You need to provide examples to LLM what exactly you expected to get in results. If you don't have any examples, try to generate, try to imagine what will be in the results during this conversation, during this prompt to LLM. So, for example, again, I showed you previously how to make the conversation, how to make the calculation, or how to solve some the problem. You provide an example to LLM, and LLM will understand what will be expected from my side. So, for example, the previous example when I show you, give me airport code. The first step I gave to LLM how I want to see the result. LLM understood I need to provide only 3 letters, its index of airport, and gave it to me. So it's super simple, but try to put as much as possible examples in your prompt because it will significantly increase accuracy and probability that you will get the right result from LLM. Many examples, more reliable responses, it's absolutely true, but be careful, we remember that we pay for every token. Token, it means like if you make some input in your context, in your prompt, so you also pay for that. So, but again, more examples, it's better. Give time to sync for model. It's also like, sounds like incredible, but it's in reality, it works. And why it's so important, because when we give a time for the model to sync in, and for example, as you can see in this example, I use the brackets XML, and I said like, hey model, can you please take your time and sync in, and what you sync, put it in a separate brackets in a separate place. And this approach can help not only to give a time for model to sync, but also give me as engineer to debug and troubleshoot my prompt. Because in this situation, I will see how LLM syncing to solve this problem. And I can adjust and make more correct, more polished prompt, and initially to create in the right way. So give time to sync for the model. You just like write and give your time, sync what the solution will be on this situation. And especially if you're working with a Claude, you can put it as this XML text where Claude will put it this result of the syncing. The next one, it's super specific for the Claude. Why? Because we previously already saw this XML. Why? Because when guys from Anthropic use some source of the data, they use XML as a schema how to train the model. As I know, I'm not 100% sure to double check with documentation. Llama from Meta, for example, was trained use Markdown. GPT, JSON, so not 100% sure, but you can double check in the documentation. Claude is based on the XML, and the XML text help you to create this, like differentiate where your context, where your request, where your some additional data, where your quotes, and so on, so on. So what we can do in this XML text? So I can put, for example, some additional data, or in this example, I got email at 6 a.m. in the morning on Monday, and I want to reply to this email. So in the first example, I just say, hey, Claude, show up at 6 a.m. because I say so, make this email more polite. So, and Claude started to answer something like, doesn't understand what exactly the context is. We tried to do it, but it was not enough. And the second example, I said like I almost the same, but I also put the context of my email in this bracket. You see, emails show up at 6 a.m. because I say so. And that's it. And you see, good morning, team. I hope you had a restful weekend. It understand what exactly the context is, and like we separate what was in an input or our context for this prompt and what I want to achieve. So XML text, very great technique if you want to make a separation between your initial prompt, your task, your background, user input, and maybe some additional data. Another one, output of format. Most probably when you work in production and interact with LLM, you expect that LLM will respond to you in some specific format. Most probably, as we're working in the web, it will be JSON, for example. Yeah. So you can say, hey, Claude, can you please do it for me as an output in JSON format? But what will be most important, that you start to help Claude to do it. When I said help, you just on assistant boxes said start with bracket, and Claude will continue to generate JSON document. So you just like help Claude to understand what the format should be looks like, and all JSON started from these brackets. The next one, it will be related to the long context window. Long context window help you to create a good context for your request and use it as much as possible. The first one, again, like XML text, makes the separation between your initial input, your initial, for example, document, background, and so on, and your request, your task. Also, it helps you to get more relevant information, because in this situation you ask Claude or LLM be more confident and provide quotes from relevance quotes from the document what you provided in this context. And also, like, you can add more and more examples. It's very important. So more examples, more increasing the chances that the answer will be accurate. Chain prompts, not a chain of thoughts, but chain prompts. So what exactly it means? Like, we try to split our task in small tasks. The same what we do in during the development process. We don't create one main file with the whole logic of Telegram bot. We try to split it in small tasks, or we create a single function which do only one stuff. Like, for example, calculating two numbers, like 2 by 2, and that's it. So what's how we can do it? For example, in the I have this text, and my final task to make to get a alphabetical list of people, of the names which mentioned on this text. What I do in this situation? The first step, I just ask Claude to give me the names. I got it. So it's the list of the names which mentioned on this text, and send to the next prompt. And the next prompt, I ask Claude to make the sort of these names. And here we go. We got it. So it will be much easier for Claude to do one task per prompt. So don't try to create a one prompt to do it all, like all of the stuff. Yeah, do it like in the small chunks, the small pieces of the work of your problems. It will be easier for Claude, and I believe it will be easier for you also. What will be on the next step? Use structure of prompt template. So if you have a lot of task, and you have, I would say, pipelines of the request, you can use this template of the prompt. Initially provide your document. Initially provide what you have as a context, like, for example, your history of communication with the clients, your documents, and so on. And only at the end, ask what you want to do with this document. It will be much better work in this situation, because Claude will read this from the start to the end, and at the end understands what I should do with this document. Okay, the next step, it's related to system prompt. Again, I want to repeat myself. I said, like, you can use these techniques in your day-to-day job, but I totally understand. I don't use it, honestly. I use some of them, because sometimes when I interact with LLM, to create this good prompt, it will take a lot of time. I mentioned these techniques mostly related to when you create some production application and you want to create a good solution for your production application. And system prompt, it's a where you define something what will not be changed where people as a user input their data. So in system prompt, we can create some additional context for our LLM. So we have at least an order how the system prompt should be looks like. Different areas, like, for example, tone context, examples, syncing step by step, output formatting. Our recommendation, if you understand that you don't need all of these steps, all of these directions in system prompt, you can skip it, but try to keep the order. I mean, like, if you have only 3 of them, like crawl and tone context and output formatting, just leave it in this order. 1, 2, 3, that's it. So what will be in our system prompt? I am going to create application. This application it's a chatbot. The chatbot should support our senior engineers. It means, like, I want to create some career coach, and this career coach will work inside in my organization and support other people to make the right decision and so on. So I provide a role for my task, like for my system prompt. That's how I started. Provided the role, what our application is going to do. The next one, it's a tone. So for sure, we are going to be friendly. It's a tone, the conversation, be restricted, and so on, will be very, very friendly to our end user and for our customers. background data for the process. So here you can proceed some additional documents. If you already have some, I don't know, some process how to interact with the people and give them advice in career path, so you can upload it or just put it here in the document. So we have some guidance how to work with the people who have a request, what I should do the next if I'm already senior or principal engineer. Examples. Provide good examples what you should do. So it's detailed task descriptions and rules, what it should be looks like. So we provide it in this area. The next one is examples. Examples, it's super important. Again, if you will take away like only one part, it's examples in your prompt. Examples, super important, really super important, because it helps to LM understand what you want to achieve. Immediate data to process. So, for example, you have a history and conversation with our career coach, and we want to upload in the current new conversation, the previous conversation, like previous history. So you can do it here. So we have a history of our chat. We have some questions previously, and currently, based on this context, LLM will understand much better what need to do and how to answer on the next questions. Immediate task description or request. It's what should do, just like currently. For example, in our case, how the response and user question. The next one, again, it's super simple. Syncing step by step. Give a time for a model to sync in on the answer. It works with human. It works with also with LLM. Output formatting, again, if you need to make a response in XML text, go ahead. Maybe you need to do it in JSON format. Also, you can do it and define it on the last step. So if we combine everything in this big system prompt, it will be looks like on this way: role, tone, background, detailed task, and what's the rules here. So for example, in the rules we can say, you can say sorry, I don't know, or say like it's not relevant to the current task or not relevant to the current context. Examples: immediate data to process, history or additional documents, task to description request, syncing step by step, and output format. How it will be look like the structure of system prompt, and also I would say it will be good structure for your prompt if you want to create in your application. So let's do like in more scientific way. Let's do like more professional way, because in my understanding, prompt engineering, first of all, it's engineering, because we create something new. I understand it's like an art, but also when we working in a developer process, we have CI/CD, we have I don't know. DevOps approach and so on, and all of time we need to do it like in some repetitive way. We done something, look at that, and make the decision it's good or not. The same approach we can apply for our prompt. Start from your test cases, start from your like examples, what you want to achieve as a result, what you expecting to get from LLM. Create your initial prompt, just like and ask them to LLM, and go through this, you know, like circle, infinity. So you understand, okay, I get the output from this prompt on this way. Maybe I need to adjust the prompt. Maybe I need to provide more examples or change the context and so on. And finally, you will get good results, I'm 100% sure, because most of the customer who initialize the question, hey, we have a problem with LLM, we started from that. Examples, and let's do some in iteratively look at what exactly we can achieve with on the next phase. Evaluate your examples. So, for example, yeah, thank you. How do I make pierogi? So I don't know, and we expecting this LM is going to start our conversation. In order to make a pierogi, you need to have something, yeah? For example, eggs and water and so on, some list of the ingredients. And we already have this list of the ingredients, and we can evaluate the answer. And for example, in our case, it's 10 of 10. It's a good answer from LLM. But if it generated to say you don't need eggs, maybe we will not make our pierogi. How to deal with hallucination? Initially, when everyone started to speak about generative AI, it was very funny jokes. So please make a calculation. 2 plus 2, it's 4. But my wife said it's 5. Yeah, it's 5 because your wife said it's 5. Yeah, for sure. So how we can try to avoid this situation? How we try to avoid hallucination? So first of all, give LM permission to say no. I don't know. I don't have this information. If you need something, like go to the internet and try to search, for example. Give this permission, because initially LM tried to be a best friend who answer any question, but give the permission to say no. Also, in your prompt, you can add this small tip and tricks, like some tricks. Answer only if you're very confident. What exactly means like very confident? I cannot merge and say very confident. It means like LM, sure this is correct answer 90% or 99% or 55%. I know, but it's really increasing the confidence. It's really increasing that we will avoid hallucination, and this will be some fake data and so on. Also, you can use, if you have a long context, you can say, hey, please find relevant quotes from the documents, and only answer based on these quotes. Only answer if you have some quotes from the documents and make the reference on them. So only in this situation answer. What else we can do? So we can create our own knowledge base, or in the industry it's known as RAG, retrieval augmented generation. So what exactly it means? Like we have our own data. We don't have the money to make some fine tune or create our own model, but we have some data. So we have our data, split them on small chunks, embedded to some vector store. And when we will ask something our LLM, what will happen in this situation? So our initial question going to will proceed through the semantic search and try to find very similar connection in our vector search, and we will enrich initial request, and this request, which already have some additional context and background, we will send to LLM and we will get the answer. So for example, you have some internal application, some internal process, architecture diagrams, I know some documentation and so on. You can use this as a knowledge base, as a retrieval augmented generation. The same what Alexei showed during making the code in Cursor. So Cursor sounds like, for me, create local RAG. So, but how you can do it in your production? So Amazon Bedrock can help you. So in Amazon Bedrock, provided a lot of different functionality. One of them, it's knowledge base. It's called knowledge base, or it's like RAG. So what kind of source can be to do it? So currently we support multiple sources. Initially it was S3 only, because most of the company already have store as S3 and use it as data lake. But currently we also support WebCrawler, Confluence, SharePoint, and Salesforce. The next one, you need to embed it to like proceed this data. I mean, it's like make an embedding. So you have a choice to do it through the Amazon or Cohere, and store in vector database. Again, like multiple choices depending on what you already use. Maybe you use already Amazon Aurora, or Redis Enterprise, or MongoDB. Again, depends on what you prefer. My recommendation will be with, it will not be very cheap, especially if you want to do it like in a pet project. Especially if you go in through the Amazon Aurora, by default it will create a pretty good instance on Amazon Aurora, and it will cost for you more than $100 per month. So look at in other variants. Maybe PineCore will be the best solution for your pet project. Again, like when you work with Amazon, first of all, to make sure that you understand the price model and how much you will spend at the end of the month. So the first one, it's like RAG. Okay, we got it. RAG is great. What else we can do? We can implement agents or tools in our process, how we interact with the model. So agents or prompts add additional functionality to get real-time data, or a data which available only some specific sources and so on. But LLM will not do anything. You just in a Claude, we provide the context what's need to do in this situation, and we need to have some client, and this client will do some stuff like, for example, get what's the weather currently in Munich, what's the weather, or what's that train available from Munich to Berlin, and so on. It's like in a super simple way to explanation. How it will be work. So, for example, I have a request to LM, what's kind of t-shirts or what I have to take to my trip to Munich, because tomorrow I'm going to back to the Munich. So, and LM understand I have as a context related to the weather. What's the weather tomorrow will be in the Munich. We send to the client understand I need to make this additional request, like for example API request to weather service, get the response from weather and send it as the whole context to Claude, and Claude will proceed with all of this data information. So initial prompt, the current status of the weather, like for example tomorrow it will be 31 degree. So tomorrow it will be 31 degrees. This is what's the current status of the weather, and Claude give me this recommendation that tomorrow it will be very sunny. So most probably I will need air conditioner, but in Germany we don't have any air conditioners. Also, how we can do it your own agents. Again, Amazon Bedrock. Amazon Bedrock has a lot of functionality, especially if you want to create your own custom application. So Amazon Bedrock give you capability to create an agent. Agents, this client most probably will be your Lambda functions. It can be just Lambda functions or Lambda functions based on the containers. You can break down your task like in a small one. You remember how I said, like make a smaller part of your initial prompt or split it in small chunks. So agents can help you to do it and get additional information from third-party resources or another resources what available in your organization. How to proceed with prompt injections or bad user behaviors. Out of the box, many LLMs already have a good guardrails that we don't speak about drugs, for example. We don't speak about porn or something like that. But what about if I want to apply some additional context? What if I want to make sure that output or initial input don't have some harassment and so on? I can proceed through the LLM and send it, hey, I have this response or I have this request from the user. Can you please check that we don't have some harassment in this request? Or you can create your own guardrails. I mean, like you can create your own rules, which topics is not allowed in this chat box or in your application. And for example, you create some bank application, but you don't want to provide some information or recommendation regarding to investments. So you just stop words. If a client want to ask you about something invest plan, just like we stop the conversation and don't allow to continue. So guardrails, again, is available in Bedrock. What's the most important part? Recently, during one of the summit, New York summit, we announced that currently guardrails is available outside of Bedrock. So it means like if you have your own local inferential of LLM, you can send your requests to API of guardrails and get this, it's a good or not good based on some custom rules. I understand like it was a lot of information, how to start, how to do something with your application, how to write a good prompt. I highly recommend to proceed with these links. The first one, it's from Anthropic. Guys did an amazing job to prepare this documentation, and they recently also announced very good product related to creation of prompts. Try to play with them, super amazing. Another one, it's prompt library. This is what I use. Just like I understand that like day-to-day job, I need to do like fixing the code, or I know rephrase some data, rephrase what I've written in English and so on. Just copy and save it in my personal libraries. What if you want to try in more practical way, like for example, how to work with Bedrock, how to create your good prompts or agents. There is some good documentation, the first one, and Bedrock workshop. Workshop is good, absolutely. Like it helps you proceed from initial step, and at the end you will understand what you can do with generative AI, with LLMs in your potential new projects or day-to-day job. And as usual, in AWS, we prefer to hear your feedbacks. And I will ask you at least scan this QR code and leave your feedback about my presentation, about the content, about me as a speaker, and so on. Just like 2 or 3 questions, I don't remember. You will spend like maybe 30 seconds, but it helped me to understand it's a good topic, not good topic. Maybe I need to make some great demo, like writing the code in lifetime, and so on. So let's see what you will answer on this survey. I'm done. If you have any questions, please go ahead. We have a good weather outside, so it means like we were waiting for when the rain will finish. Till that we here. Yes. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I have a question. So you explained that the more details you put in your prompt, the better, the more examples, the better. But in production use, you need to save some money. Do you have any tips on how to reduce the number of these tokens without sacrificing the quality of answer and like basically understanding?
Choose another model. 100. I'm not joking. So I got a conversation with one of the customer from Greece. So initially they use very well-known generative AI model, but it was not so cheap as you described, and they decided to try some smaller models. Like for example, in Anthropic, they had Haiku, Opus, and Sonnet. Haiku is the smallest one, and if I right remember, they decided to continue with Haiku because they tried to play with the different prompts, but smaller model. Smaller models, cheaper token. My recommendation will be try different models, and I am not sure that you can save a lot of money with smaller context in your initial prompt. If you have like, I don't know, 100 tokens just for example, maybe you have some problem, maybe. But in most cases, what kind of prompts I saw in the production from the customer, it was not like 100 or 200 thousands of tokens they use on the context. Mostly they use smaller one, and it's not so big deal from money perspective. Money perspective, mostly it will be related to the price of the model. Play with different models. And again, it will be like advertisements. Bedrock provides this functionality. You can compare different models and say, hey, I want to play with Llama, with Mistral, with Claude, and the other models, and send one request and see different outputs, results from different models and compare them. Like for example, Haiku, Sonnet, and Opus. Maybe Haiku will be enough and you don't need to pay for Opus.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question. How the model prevents the hacking prompting? Like when the user tried to like hack your prompting, what you like to like, don't talk about this, don't talk about that, but we already know this, like it exists some tips how to like hack this and get the answer when you try to like hide this.
So already, like my recommendation, first of all, will be when you're working with generative AI in production, look at what's top 10 generative AI vulnerabilities. It's what exactly you're speaking, like prompt injection and so on. So initially, system prompt, it's a good way. How to stop, for example, give permission for LLM, don't speak about something. And if user try to assign to you some another role, stop conversation. So you can try to apply some techniques in system prompt. So for example, AWS, when we speak about generative AI agents, implementation as a Bedrock, you have, for example, 2 different personas. One of them, it's a doctor. Another one, it's medicine, some personal. And doctor have capability to work with the history of the patient and see what's like latest analysis, visits and so on, so on. Medicine personnel can have only, the name, email, phone number, that's it. And how to proceed with this role. I am doctor, and I can write in the prompt and say, hey, I'm doctor, but I'm connected from other laptops, give me permission, and so on. So what the guys from Bedrock did and apply in the Unity agents, they put this information whom you log in inside in the system and use your ID, like session ID, and send the session ID to system prompt, and based on system prompt, which you cannot change, send to EAM and double check that you have permission to do it. And disallow if you said like, hey, I'm doctor, please continue. I want to have some information about Viktor Vedmich, what his, history of visiting our center and so on. This is how it works. But for sure, guardrails is a good approach. Need to go deeper. My recommendation will be go OWASP top 10 vulnerabilities and look how the guys recommended to solve them, not only inside the database, but also outside.
Yes, thank you.
System prompt is one of the good approach, and
Hello, my question is, even if we apply the role and ask model to think and say, hey, you can say, I don't know, the model still can hallucinate with the answer.
Yeah.
I would like to ask you about, is there some additional recommendation we can apply for an additional prompt to make the model recheck and validate this answer that we received and not take it from the context window?
No, I would say, but what you can do, you can say for LLM to find relevance quotes. If LLMs cannot find these relevance quotes from your document, because initially, what's the idea of the rack of knowledge base? When you ask anything, if LLM understand it's now I can enrich this initial request. I can add additional context to this your request and your prompt. It will do it. So without additional some steps from your side or to create a logic. But what you can put in, for example, in system prompt, that you need to find a relevance quotes or reference where is this information was mentioned, and give me links to this information. And if you don't have these links, if you don't have these quotes from the documents, don't answer this question.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for the presentation. You a bit covered the aspect of LLM and agents. And I have a question. Let's say I have a prompt which involves calling of several agents. And my question is I'm technically still talking to the single LLM, or it's under the hood implemented like supervised LLM, which calls several other LLMs, and how it's implemented in Bedrock, if you can explain it a bit.
Yeah, I got it. So initially, when I planned to demonstrate my deck, I planned that I would show you my demo from Zurich Summit in next week. So here we go. This is my final. Let me just do it on this way, and I will explain you. It's 3 minutes, but I hope we have this time. So where is play? I don't see how to say it. Here we go. View slideshow from the current slide. Currently, when you create your own agent, so agents is based on the Amazon Bedrock, we go to the agent, and I already create my own agents. I call it my last name Vedmich, agent AWS SA. So what's the component of the agent? The first component, you provide some descriptions. First of all, you need to define your EAM role, what the agent will be able to do. Again, different roles, different permissions to AWS resources or other resources. The next one, you create like a main model which will proceed and help you to interact, to work for this agent. It's only one main LLM. Also, you define some instructions for the agent, blah, 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 it's currently going on. But what I did inside in my agent, I called API LLM and used Sonnet 3.5. So my parent LLM is Sonnet 3, but inside in the tools and the actions, I just call Sonnet 3.5 because it's give me better quality of code generation. So here is a knowledge base, for example, when we're working with action groups for me, it's a Lambda function. Inside in the Lambda function, it's just like Python code, and I can do everything inside of the Python code. Also, in action group, I have to provide API, open API, JSON Swagger file, where I provide the descriptions when you need to call this tool. Like, for example, if I'm working with weather, temperature, I need to call tool weather. When I need to generate to code on Terraform, you will need to use another tool, which is called, infrastructure as code generation tool. And inside in this tool, I can make a call to other LLMs and get this response and send it back to a parent LLM.
Thank you.
But currently we don't support multi-agents, so all of the tools should be inside in one umbrella, one agent. You can proceed like from one tool to another tool. So for example here, very quick demo, I ask about some private application, it's called Swissbox, and based on my knowledge base, based on my RAC, it's answer me that the Swissbox is serverless file sharing application. The next step, I ask to create analytics layer for this application. And what will happen in a trace? So trace is very important part in agents because in the trace you will see the logic, what's happened under the hood, and how LLM works and makes the decision that I need to run some specific tools. Like, for example, call in weather, call into generation tool, call, get some documents from blah, 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 and so on. So currently, you see, like, it's a solution, blah, blah, blah. And just like in a few seconds, I think I will open Trace to show you how it works under the hood. It's estimation cost. And in Trace, you see, like, I have a context, long, what is a combine based on the previous context. And here we go, I said, like, I'm going to call this function, this tool, and action group, like it's answer, like it's the final output. Again, I have another request, and LM understands that I need to call this specific tool inside in my agent. How it's made, like again, API schema, where I put all of this information, like descriptions, what kind of functionality do I have, and LM makes this decision. Super quick intro to generative AI agents.
Yeah, for one question. Earlier it was mentioned that there is a common set of practice how to detect harmful prompt inject, like role resume, etc. Maybe, do you know if there is kind of well-prepared documentation or set of recommendation in form of document? Kind of guidance for the security.
Only a WASP top 10. Just like we can try to search.
WASP is so in the name, so web.
Yeah. WASP generative AI top 10. Let's try to look at that. Some Gartner, Sneak. Yeah, here we go. That's what I said, like, for example, examples. Here we go. The first one is prompt injection manipulation with LLMs via crafted input lead to unauthorized access. The second one, insecure output handling. It means like when you send in back your results to the user, it also can be modified. So training data poisoning. So it's also one of the way how you can make some injections to the not correct answer. So when you do some fine tuning, make sure that your data is correct data, not nobody affected your initial data which you use to train your model or fine tune your model.
Yeah.
It's top 10. It's like it's public available.
Oh,
OWASP
okay.
top 10. There is some docs like how to proceed in different tools. In AWS, we have our recommendations. Inside in Bedrock, you had create guardrails to avoid like injections and so on. But yeah.
Yeah. Thanks.
You're welcome.
And please, last question, because we don't have time. Okay.
No more questions.
I have only one question. It's simple. Do you have any trials to try your solution for not big enterprise, but for enterprise? They are really worrying about their assets, pushing them to those LLMs. They would like to have anything on-prem.
If you're already a client of AWS, most probably you have account manager and solution architect, and you can directly communicate with them. It will be my recommendation, because account manager can provide for you some credits. Credits is like money inside in AWS, which you can spend to work with Bedrock, with S3, for example, with some vector store, and so on, so on. You just say, hey, my plan is going to try generative AI use cases based on my data, based on my solution, my use case, my some application. Explain what kind of you're going to try and expect like your estimation, your forecast, how much you will spend, like $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, and account manager.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. It's only one way how you can do it. Amazon Q, it's free for developers. Yes, it's true with limitation, but all of this stuff, what I show like in Bedrock, it's not free. It's required to pay money. So yeah.
And now, before Viktor provides some credits for 3 people, I want to remember, please give feedback, because it's very important for us. According it's allowed to us to invite so big stars for these events. Viktor, please choose 3 questions for 3 credits. 1 credit is $50.
The first one for the first question related to how to optimize the prompts. I think it's very important. Again, I will repeat it. You don't need to start from the biggest model. Start from smallest and try to play with the prompt. Not all times it's you select, I don't know, like Opus, the larger, the biggest, or Llama 400 billions parameters. The second one, let's give this person.
Okay.
And let's give the last one to this nice lady, and the second or so. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoy and to figure out something new about prompt engineering. And don't write fix it in your prompt, please.
Yeah.
Provide more context, examples. Yeah. Yes.
Okay, I want to say thank you for our stars, and I remember that next we can meet together and go to AWS Cloud. I did not propose to go with Viktor on to Switzerland. I think it's some more expensive, but it's okay. So now you can go and taste the pizza.
Photo, please.
Last photo.